Long, long ago, when animals spoke the language of humans, there lived in the province of Inaba, Japan, a little white hare. His fur gleamed like fresh snow under the sun, and his bright eyes sparkled with curiosity. The hare's home was on the island of Oki, a small but serene place where he lived in harmony with the trees, birds, and gentle winds that whispered across the landscape. Yet, despite the beauty around him, the hare often found himself gazing longingly toward the mainland of Inaba, just across the sea. The hare had a deep yearning to visit Inaba. Its distant shores seemed to beckon him with the promise of adventure and new sights. Day after day, he would sit by the water's edge, his heart swelling with desire, his mind filled with dreams of exploring the land that lay just out of reach. But alas, the sea stretched wide between the island and the mainland, and the hare had no means to cross it. One bright and cloudless morning, while the little hare sat in his usual spot, lost in his thoughts, he noticed something that made his heart skip a beat. A great crocodile, with scales shimmering in the sunlight, was swimming lazily near the shore of the island. "This is my chance," thought the hare, excitement bubbling up inside him. "If I can somehow convince the crocodile to help me, I can cross the sea and reach Inaba." But the hare, being a creature of cunning, doubted whether the crocodile would agree to such a request if asked directly. So instead of pleading for help, he decided to employ a bit of trickery. With a voice full of cheer, the hare called out, "Oh, Mr. Crocodile, isn't this a splendid day?" The crocodile, who had been basking in the warmth of the sun, was startled to hear someone speak. Turning his head toward the shore, he saw the little white hare sitting on the beach, a friendly smile on his face. The crocodile, though mighty in size, had been feeling somewhat lonely, and the hare's words seemed like a welcome invitation. "Yes, indeed, it is a beautiful day," replied the crocodile, swimming closer to the shore. "And it's even better now that I have someone to talk to. What brings you to the water's edge, little hare?" "Oh," said the hare, with a playful twinkle in his eye, "I often come here to enjoy the view, but today, I was thinking about something rather curious. I wonder, Mr. Crocodile, do you have many friends in the sea? You see, I was trying to guess whether there are more crocodiles in the ocean than there are hares on this island." The crocodile, whose pride was easily stirred, puffed out his chest. "More crocodiles? Of course, we crocodiles are everywhere. We roam the seas and rivers of the world, while you hares are limited to your tiny islands. If I called upon my brethren, they would outnumber you 100-fold. The hare, pretending to be impressed, raised his eyebrows. "Is that so? I wonder, could you show me? Could you gather enough crocodiles to form a line all the way from here to Inaba? Then I could count for myself." The crocodile, though powerful, was not particularly wise. He didn't suspect that the hare had any other motives and was eager to prove his boast. "Wait here," he said, disappearing beneath the waves. The hare watched as the crocodile swam out to sea, calling for his companions. Before long, the water began to churn and ripple, and one by one, the crocodiles appeared. They were vast and many, their scaly backs breaking through the surface as they formed a bridge stretching from the island of Oki to the distant shores of Inaba. "There," said the crocodile, returning triumphantly. "Now, do you see? I have gathered enough crocodiles to span the sea. You may count them yourself." The hare, grinning inwardly, replied, "How magnificent! I shall count each one as I cross, but I must hop from back to back, for I need to be sure of the number." So the hare leapt onto the first crocodile, carefully stepping from one scaly back to the next. 1, 2, 3, 4. He counted aloud as he made his way toward Inaba. The crocodiles held still, proud of their formation, unaware of the trick being played. When the hare finally reached the last crocodile, and the shores of Inaba were just a single leap away, he laughed gleefully and shouted, "You foolish crocodiles! I never wanted to count you, I only wanted to use you as a bridge to get to Inaba." The crocodiles, hearing this, roared with anger. They realized they had been tricked. As the hare bounded onto the sandy shore, the lead crocodile bellowed, "You will pay for this, deceitful hare." And with a single snap of their jaws, The crocodiles surged toward the hare, but not to eat him, they had another kind of punishment in mind. The crocodiles surrounded the hare, and one by one, began to tear out his soft, white fur. The hare cried out in pain, but the crocodiles were relentless, their revenge as fierce as their sharp teeth. "This is for your trickery," they growled as they left the hare bare and trembling on the shore, his skin raw and bleeding. When they were done, the crocodile swam away, laughing at their vengeance. The hare, now completely bald, lay on the beach, shivering and weak. His body ached with every breath, and he wept bitterly over the loss of his beautiful fur. It was his own fault that he was in such a pitiful state, yet his suffering was so great that even the hardest heart would have felt a pang of sympathy. As the hare lay on the beach, writhing in agony, a group of travelers happened to pass by. They were dressed in fine robes, their hair gleaming like polished black stone, and they walked with the grace and confidence of noblemen. Their appearance was so striking that the hare, through his pain, imagined they must be the sons of a king. Curious and concerned by the hare's pitiful cries, they stopped in their tracks. One of the men, with an air of feigned sympathy, knelt down and asked, "Little hare, what has befallen you? Why do you weep so bitterly?" The hare, lifting his head from his trembling paws, looked up through tear-filled eyes and replied, "I was deceived by my own cunning and tricked the crocodiles to help me cross the sea. In revenge, they pulled out all my fur and left me in this wretched state." The men exchanged glances, their expressions a mix of amusement and indifference. One among them, whose eyes gleamed with a sly and spiteful light, stepped forward. Pretending to care, he said, How unfortunate you are, but there may yet be a way to heal your wounds. If you wish to recover, I suggest you bathe in the salt water of the sea, and then sit in the wind to dry. It will surely soothe your pain and help your fur grow back." The hare, desperate for any remedy, believed the man's words. "Thank you, kind sir," he said, unaware of the malice behind the suggestion. Grateful, he hurried to the shore and immersed his sore, raw skin in the cold salt water. At first, the coolness seemed to offer some relief, and hope flickered in his heart. But as the wind began to blow across his wet body, the salt crystallized on his skin, tightening painfully with every gust. The hare's raw flesh stung unbearably, and soon his initial comfort turned into searing pain. He writhed on the sand, moaning in agony, his once hopeful heart now filled with despair. As the hare lay there, tormented, another traveler happened to pass by. This man was different from the others. Though dressed similarly in noble garments, his eyes were filled with genuine kindness, and his posture radiated humility. He carried a large sack over his shoulder, and as he approached the hare, his face softened with compassion. "Why do you cry so, little one?" asked the man gently, kneeling down beside the suffering animal. The hare, remembering the cruel trick played on him by the first group of men, remained silent at first, fearing more deception. He curled up tighter, tears streaming down his face. Yet the man did not leave. Instead, he placed his hand tenderly on the hare's trembling form and spoke again, his voice soothing like a soft breeze. "Tell me what has happened. I mean you no harm. I only wish to help." Moved by the man's sincerity, the hare hesitated, then slowly unfolded himself and told his story. He spoke of how he had tricked the crocodiles, how they had taken their revenge, and how the earlier travelers had misled him into further pain. The hare finished by begging the man to give him a remedy, some medicine to soothe his wounds and restore his lost fur. The man listened patiently, never interrupting, and when the hare had finished, he sighed with pity. "You poor creature," he said, "though you brought this upon yourself by trickery, your suffering is still great, and for that, I will help you. But remember, deceit has its consequences, and it is best to live with honesty." "I have learned my lesson," the hare said, his voice trembling. "I will never again use deceit to gain what I desire. Please, show me how I can heal." The man smiled kindly. "Then listen carefully. Go to that freshwater pond over there and wash yourself thoroughly, for the salt from the sea is making your wounds worse. After you have cleaned your body, gather some of the soft kaba flowers that grow near the water's edge. Roll in their pollen, and it will soothe your pain and help your fur grow back." The hare, filled with hope, followed the man's instructions. He crawled to the pond, where he bathed in the clear, cool water, washing away the burning salt. The relief was immediate, and the hare felt the pain lessen as he soaked in the pond. Afterward, he gathered the delicate kaba flowers, their pale yellow petals glowing in the sunlight. He rolled himself on the ground, covering his bare skin with their pollen. To his astonishment, as he did so, his white fur began to grow back. Soft and silky, it returned just as it had been before the crocodiles had ripped it out. The pain vanished completely, and the hare found himself whole and healthy once again. Overcome with joy, he leapt about in happiness, marveling at his restored form. With gratitude swelling in his heart, the hare rushed back to the man who had saved him. Kneeling at the man's feet, the hare said, "Thank you. Thank you. I cannot express how grateful I am. You have given me back my life. Please, tell me, who are you, so that I may remember your name and repay your kindness someday?" The man smiled gently and said, "I am no ordinary traveler. My name is Okuni Nushi no Mikoto, and I am a fairy. Those men who passed by earlier are my brothers, and they are on a journey to ask for the hand of the beautiful Princess Yakami, who lives in this province. But I, being the youngest, carry their belongings and follow behind." The hare bowed deeply, his voice full of awe. "Oh, great Okuni Nushi no Mikoto, I cannot believe one as kind as you is related to those who treated me so cruelly. I am sure the princess will refuse all of your brothers and choose you as her husband, for your heart is full of goodness, and that is what truly matters." Okuni Nushi no Mikoto said nothing in response, merely smiled and bade the hare farewell before continuing his journey. Just as the hare had predicted, when the brothers reached the palace of Princess Yakami, none of them could win her favor. But when she saw Okuni Nushi no Mikoto, her heart was moved by his kindness and humility. Without hesitation, she chose him to be her husband, just as the wise hare had foreseen. And so, Okuni Nushi no Mikoto became the husband of the princess, and the white hare became famous throughout the land as the white hare of Inaba. As for the crocodiles, their fate remains a mystery, lost to the tides of time. Moral: deception and trickery may bring temporary success, but they often lead to greater suffering. True healing and happiness come from honesty, humility, and the kindness of others. Repentance and learning from mistakes can lead to redemption and a better path forward.